Going to my first science fair, I was super nervous. I walked to the gymnasium. It was a huge, huge gymnasium. And I found my board. It had my name and I had decorated it. So I was like super proud of myself. I went to an all-Black school growing up. It was actually a Catholic school called Queen of Angels. When I was in the 5th grade, my parents decided to take me out of Newark, New Jersey and move me to West Milford, New Jersey, which is a predominantly white area. I remember clearly 5th period, 10th grade. I was in earth science class and the classroom had about 25 kids. 5 of us were Black. So we were put in groups to build our own solar system using styrofoam balls in a creative way that you wanted to do. This one teacher, she would just put all the Black kids in one group and then the white kids would be in other groups. Then I kind of voiced can we change up the groups? It's like, can we be more diverse and get to know other kids in the classroom? And then she asked me a very profound question of, what do I want to do when I grow up? So I started to explain to her, I want to be a scientist, because I knew at a really young age I wanted to do science. She then said to me, you're never going to amount to that goal, basically. Like you'll never get there. At first, it deterred me, but then my mom gave me her prep talk, and it actually gave me a boost of confidence, and I had to prove something to her. Like, okay, you told me I could not. Watch this. I was at home when I found out I got accepted. I think my dad had just walked in from work. My mom wasn't home yet, but I think I just jumped on him and was like, I'm going to Tuskegee. Yes, I'm getting out of Jersey. So I was like super excited, but also really scared. To obtain a PhD, it's a 5-year journey. There were times where I wanted to quit. I've been in school since kindergarten, basically, to 2017. There's many times where you miss holidays with your family. And then you get a phone call, such and such passed away, and you could have spent time with that person, but you had to be at school. You're in the lab. There's nights where I slept in the lab. There's nights where I saw my friends enjoying life and, getting jobs and making money, and I'm in the lab because you're dedicated to that thing. It's your baby. You want to birth that degree. I'm trying to save lives. I'm trying to help the communities. I'm trying to help the Black community. I'm trying to, be the first doctor in my family. I want to sustain life for myself and not have to work hours and hours and hours and see nothing for all your hard work. So all those things play in my mind, still to this day. It's my driving force. When I realized this is done, is when I walked across the stage and, PhD graduations are different. The whole stage is yours. No one's coming right behind you. The auditorium was full of people. The band came in and they did their performance, and then you walk on stage, they say your entire name and they hood you. So that moment when I put my hood on and they hooded me and I stood up and I just kind of looked into the crowd, and then I looked over at my family and my mom was in tears, and then I saw my now husband, he was my boyfriend at the time, then my sisters, my brother was there. That's when I was like, wow, I'm done. Science is just all around us, and people forget that. When it rains, when it snows, tornadoes, how things melt, medicine you take, your carbohydrates, how it breaks down into your system, the products we use in our hair, our face, all those are a formulation of chemistry, biology put together for the better good of the people. So there's so many outlets for science, things you can do as a scientist with a PhD. I went online and I found out about field application scientists, also known as FAS. The amount of women in the field was 29.8%, and there were only 2% African-American women. I wanted to change that. It's my duty to change that. But it was tough. It's a hard position to break into. So I applied to 155 places, and nothing was biting. It hurt. I probably cried a couple of times too. I applied at Terumo, and Kelly, recruiter Cynthia, reached out to me, and I was really surprised. I was like, oh my God. She was like, yeah, your resume is perfect. I think you'll be a great fit. Let's set up a call and we'll talk more about the position, and I'll see where you are as far as the information I have to give you about the position. The communication was spot on point. There were no times where I was in the gray area, not knowing what was going on. And she was like encouraging, like my cheerleader. She kind of stuck with me from beginning until the end, until I like signed off. She was there. She even went so far that they wanted me to start earlier and I could not start. I had to give my company, the week's notice, and she advocated for me for that, and she got it for me. I felt like in the little time that she knew me, she invested in me. The last day, she texted me and she's like, "Have you heard anything yet?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't heard anything back yet." Literally within 20 minutes, she was like, "I have a verbal offer for you." Psh, blew my mind. I cried. Called my husband, like literally crying, bawling my eyes out. He's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I got the job. I got the job." So yeah, it was so good. It was good. It matters to see people like myself because I was told when I was younger that people like me wouldn't be able to do what I do today. I want to help kids get to the point where they're confident to know that they can do this, because your belief system plays a major role. When people tell you can't do something, sometimes you're either going to say, "Well, yes, I can," or it's going to kill you. I needed that moment. And I know that sounds weird, but I'm really grateful for her. I don't want to get emotional, but I'm grateful for her saying what she said to me. If I didn't have that moment, even though it hurt, it was hard to deal with, it still is hard to deal with, I can confidently say that I am Dr. Dominique Gales Badea today because of that moment. So.